Hello students and welcome to the class. We are going to do something very exciting and different today. I'm sure all of you are intrigued by now. What is it so exciting that we are going to do? And why did I say so? Well, students, I said this because so far you have been doing informal writing. You have written informal pieces of writing such as diary entry, informal letter, etc. Now, what were these compositions like? In informal letter, you would interact with your best friend or with your relative or with a very close person. A one-to-one interaction was there, and in case of diary entry, you could interact with your diary. You could express yourself candidly and informally. But have you ever thought, if you become capable of writing a formal piece, you would come in limelight. People would start noticing you. You would become popular because a formal piece of writing may attract the attention of many people who may not even have known you otherwise. So, you will become renowned because of your piece of formal writing. So, that is why I said it's going to be something very exciting. But still, to make this point more clear, let's come directly to the topic which we are going to discuss today. As you can see on your screen, we are going to do article writing. Now, article writing is a formal expression of writing, okay? And it caters to a large audience. So, the first question that should come to your mind should be, why do we write an article? What for do we write an article? Well, we write an article for our school magazines, for newspapers, for magazines, for journals, etc. What happens when we write these articles? Well, once they are published in a magazine or a newspaper or a journal or even your school magazine, and if it happens to be good enough, of course it is both ways. It was good, that is why only it got published. And if the readers like it, they tend to read it, then there is no denying the fact that you are going to become a star, an established writer. So let's see the different dimensions of article writing through your class. First of all, what is an article? An article is a piece of writing written for a large audience, which would mean, unlike your informal letter or your diary entry where the interaction was one to one, where the reader was just somebody who was very close to you, who could understand your feelings, and those feelings were limited to yourself and your immediate surroundings. But article is to cater to a larger audience, and accordingly the topics are more vast. They are more general. They pertain to the society, they pertain to the world, they pertain to the environment, they pertain to politics. So it is written for a large audience. Why? As we discussed, why do we write article? So that it gets published in either newspapers or magazines or journals. But then, why do we want them to get published in newspapers or magazines or journals? Because we want to bring some change to the world. We want to debate, we want to show concern, we want to write something philosophical. that would impact the reader in a greater way. That is why we write an article. Steps of article writing. Suppose you have some opinions regarding a topic and you want to tell people about it. How will you do so? If you are writing on a smaller platform, by way of letter, by way of diary, you are not going to reach out to to a larger audience or to the opinions of different persons. But you want to say to the world. You don't want to just approach or just get understood by people who are near you, but you want to tell it to the world. How will you do so? So you will write these opinions and get them published somewhere. Okay. So many a times you would be reading newspapers and then you come across so many problems and suggestions in the newspapers, magazines and journals and blogs of different writers and people. What are they doing? Actually, they are writing their opinions, their beliefs in the form of an article. So that is why it is very important that we get familiar with all aspects of article writing, because I repeat here, article is a formal expression. You can't go easy on format or the style of writing or the language, because it has to be read by another set of learned people. Alright? So we are going to do these things very, very carefully, as we do in every class. Objectives. Why objectives are important? Children, for everything what you do, for everything you do, you should know the objective of it. Even if you eat food, you should know, why am I eating this particular type of food? There may be a variety of reasons. Sometime you may be eating to fill your stomach. Sometime you may be eating to satisfy your taste buds. Sometimes you may be eating because you have to go for your classes or go to school. There may be many reasons and many objectives. It may be nutrition, it may be strength, it may be pleasure, and so on. And for each class, for each lesson also, we have different objectives. Now, why do we list objectives? So that we know how to grasp a topic, what all to extract from that topic. Let's see. So the objectives are, first thing is we are going to write on the topic, on the matter of interest in the limelight. Something has to be interesting and intriguing for a greater audience. Second objective of article writing is to provide information on that topic. So you have to be conversant, you have to be completely informative when you are picking up a topic. All the minute, minuscule details you need to know and you need to share with the readers. Then in certain articles, if they are based on some problems or some social issues, you can talk of offering your suggestions and pieces of advice. Then as I said, article has to be intriguing enough so that the readers are forced to think. You want them to think, introspect and reflect. And then The article discusses various stories, persons, locations, the current issues, and the technical developments. Format. Because it's a formal writing, the format of article writing is very, very important, because here you are writing a formal expression. Okay, so it is important. Like, if in actually for your academic purpose, every format is important, because even if you're writing informal things, you will be given marks because of format, correct format. Okay, but in real life, I mean to say, if you're writing an informal letter or a diary, it doesn't matter much if you miss out on certain thing. Like if you miss out on writing a day or time somewhere or date somewhere, it's not a big deal, because it's very personal thing you're doing. But if something has to go to the world, then the format becomes very, very important, and article is a formal piece of writing. So, because we have to attract the attention of the readers, what is the first thing that has to be captivating? The first thing is the heading or the title. It has to be very captivating. Now imagine if you write a very dull caption, give a very dull caption to your article, how would the reader be, forced to read what is in detail? So of course the heading or the title for anything becomes very, very important. When you buy storybooks, and if you don't have a proper review of that storybook, how will you be inclined to buy it? By looking at the title, the name of the book. If it is some mystery book, it has to be a title given accordingly. If it is some thriller or some suspense or some adventure, then the title has to be given accordingly. Then second very important thing, this you need to understand. A line having writer's name, and that is called a byline. Okay, a line having writer's name. Tell me, students, you have worked so hard, you have researched a topic, you have written an article, you have got it published in a magazine of good repute, and if you don't write your own name, it's all a waste. People will read it, they will appreciate, but they won't know who is the creator of it, who is the writer of it. So our name always, brings lot of what should I say? Lot of acknowledgement, no? So the name is very, very important, and I have seen many students miss out on this. So you simply remember this way, that this is something original that you are writing for so many people. Take pride in your name. They should know that now you are an established writer. So don't forget to write your name. And what is it called? Byline. Okay. So first we have heading or headline, and then we have byline. And then we have body of the article. Body of the article just means content. The main thing to note down is you may split it into 3 paragraphs. And final, children, final thing is conclusion. I always dwell a lot on this conclusion. See, let me give you a classic example. You watch a good movie. it had a great script, it had a great star cast, the locations were very good, the cinematography was very good, the songs were very good in the movie you watched. But at the end, the story didn't end properly. You did not know what was the climax or what was the end of the movie. Nothing happened. The director left it as it is. Won't you be a little let down? Won't you be a little upset that, oh my god, what was this movie? Everything was going on so well, but the end was pathetic. There was no story, no completion. What happened to the hero or the heroine or the villain or whatsoever? So, same way, whatever we are writing, it is a story itself. It is telling a story. Maybe it's telling a tale of a problem. Maybe it's telling a tale of a life trait or a life skill. Maybe it's telling a tale of a social issue, but it is a story. And like any story, it should have an introduction and a proper conclusion. And let me tell you, children, it is not about when you're writing something big in length that you focus on conclusion. Everything that you write needs to have a conclusion. Even the short answers, even the extrapolative answers in your literature, when you write those, please conclude properly. Like in the nutshell, or so we can say that. So if the word limit is less, then at least put this conjunction so. Okay, so conclusion is the ending paragraph of the article with your opinion, your recommendation or anticipation or an appeal, like, so we all must participate in making this earth a beautiful place, something like this. Ingredients of article writing, as if it's a recipe, right? So actually, through language we create different recipes and we serve those to the audience. So like we put lot of spices in by way of our different phrases and expressions and idioms and grammatical items, and then we put the basic ingredients like the tenses and the spellings and the punctuation marks, and then we treat the subject, then we cook it, we brew it, we make it aromatic, and then how we present it, how we plate it, how we garnish it. So it is a kind of recipe. So what are the ingredients of writing an article? See carefully. Just in the center we have a very captivating title. And then in the byline we have your name. If you are the writer, it's your name. Then we have the body, which means content. In that you have an introductory paragraph, descriptive paragraph, additional information if it's required, and then conclusion. Mark all these things carefully. Note down the format of article writing in your classwork notebooks, because right now it may be very clear, but tomorrow when I will discuss report writing with you, you may be utterly confused. So I have seen children mixing up these two formats. Although article writing and report writing are cousins, but we need to know the difference. We will come to it a little later on, but today you write the format of an article writing in your classwork notebook and just pick it as a default setting in your mind. Okay? Next time, nobody should be required to remind you, okay, what is an article and what all to be incorporated in an article. You should know. Okay, now we proceed. What are the steps for article writing format? Now, of course, when you're writing for a formal audience, you will first thing is you will think, what is it I am going to write about? When you have so many guests in your house and you have to cook something, what is the first thing you think of? First thing is, which dish I am good at preparing? What is it I am going to cook for my guests? Only after that you will start assembling the different ingredients and using your knowledge of cooking, and then proceed. But first thing is, you will think about the dish or the topic. Now our today's dish is article, no? We are going to serve a nice aromatic article, no? So first thing is, think of the topic you want to write the article about. Now I have thought of a topic. Say I am going to write about rash driving or some indiscipline or increasing crime or something like this, or teenage troubles, so many things. Suppose I have decided. Now I need to know about my audience. That's very clever. We need to know the taste. Now the guests are sitting, I know them, they are sitting in my home. If I am cooking, I should know what is their taste and preference. What kind of a thing they would like to eat. I should be able to know that they are vegetarians, so I am not going to cook a non-vegetarian dish. Similarly, you have to target the audience, identify the concerned reading group. Then, nothing without objective. If I am cooking for my guests, what is my objective? Tell me. My objective is, I have to behave like a good host. They have come to my place, so I have to take care of their requirements. And then what is it? Second objective is, I am going to give my best. Whatever I am good at, I am going to cook that. Right? Similarly, you have to find a purpose. Find the objective or aim of writing the article. Why? Always ask lots of whys to yourself. Why am I writing this? Of course, I am not, somebody would say, okay, my ma'am asked me to write, so I am writing. And therefore, I can copy from someone else also. Because my only objective is to complete my fair notebook and get it checked and get 1 or 2 stars, and that's all. Never mind if I have understood anything or not. No, not this way. You have to identify the objective. What is the purpose? Why am I writing an article? When you actually write article, even in your notebooks, you should feel that, okay, if I am talking about road rage, then actually I am concerned about it and I want to awaken the society. I am a responsible citizen and I am writing this article to make other people aware. So find your own objective or aim of writing the article. Then collect and select. Now students, of course it is not an informal piece of writing that whatever comes to my mind, okay fine, I'll write that. Hey buddy, how are you, and all those things. It's not like that. Because it is a formal thing and because so many people are going to critically evaluate my piece of writing, I am going to gather as much information as possible. All the minuscule details, all the minute details related quotes I have to search. Then I have to search the value points, what are the different problems occurring, and then there is a bit of data, how many people have been affected by those things, and then what are the suggestions, what is the government doing, what are the different schemes related to that. So many things I need to collect and then filter. These days our Google Baba is there, to provide everything. So suppose you are going to collect your data from Mr. Google, and you want two things, you will get 200. So students, you should also know how to filter. Get only as much as is required and of the level that is required. That is why first is we are targeting the audience. No, the first here, target the audience. That is why we said this. You have to keep in mind ki I'll write only those things which my audience will be able to understand and connect to those things, only that much. And then now suppose you have collected 10 facts or say 15 facts. Then next step is you are going to organize, rearrange the information in a logical way. For example, we come back to that. If you are talking of road rage, it is not that in your para 1 you are giving suggestions, okay, we can stop it by stringent traffic rules and this and that suggestions, and then in para 2 you come to the problem, and para 3 you come to the cause of that problem. That would make it haphazard. So organize. Tell yourself, okay, my step 1 is I'm going to serve the idea to the audience. Second step is I am going to tell them the reasons why this is happening. Third, I am going to talk of the causes and results. And the fourth is suggestions or remedial measures or things like that. Arrange your facts. Tips. Now, of course, some tips are mandatory, I would say, and should be kept in mind. We should use correct grammar, spelling, and punctuation. Punctuation is a small thing but tricky. I have seen you ignore it many a times, new sentence has always a capital letter, and sometimes you omit the use of a full stop or a comma. Comma is the widely neglected mark of punctuation, I would say. So wherever you are pausing a bit, you can put a comma, and then of course the spellings should be correct, grammar should be absolutely correct, because again your article is going to go places. It's not that just your mom or dad or best friend or your diary or your brother or sister is just going to read it. No, it is going to go farther than that. So you need to take care of your grammar, spelling, punctuation. Of course, use your vocab skill. We already have done so much of nice vocabulary. Why not use it? This is how we hone our skills, We learn one word in one context and then we retain it, and then we bring it down to, usage in some other context. And then that is how we learn how the beauty of words also. How same word can be used here and there on different occasions. Keep the introduction of the topic catching, interesting, and short. This is your keyword, short. Okay, things should be short. Why? Because if you are writing very lengthy things, there are two drawbacks of this. One drawback is you are exceeding the word limit for your exam, which is a technical thing. And second drawback is it becomes very lengthy and incoherent piece of writing, and in the beginning itself the reader loses interest. Crispness should be there in what you write. That's very, very important. And for your short story writing, remember we discussed in our last lesson in the writing section, short story, that is also very, very important. Now you have to write your article in a way as if you are discussing your opinion, as if the audience is sitting right in front of you. This is how we develop a strong connection. Okay, always connect. Unless you are able to connect with the audience, it's no use. So discuss the opinion and the matter in an organized and descriptive manner. Common mistakes in article writing format. Students, there is a very interesting and one of my favorite things. I only happen to say it and I repeat it for you also. There's a saying that we should learn from our mistakes. But I always say, why should we learn from our mistakes? Won't it be great if we learn from mistakes committed by others? Which means we become observant. If somebody happens to commit a mistake here and there, then you have to observe and then keep in mind that okay, if he or she committed that mistake in that situation, I am not going to do so. Which means I have learnt not from my mistake but from someone else's mistake. So now common mistakes in the article writing format. Why I thought I would discuss this with you, so that what mistakes generally students commit. If you know beforehand, you would be aware and well equipped not to commit those mistakes on your part. One mistake is children do not use quotes or similar cases or anecdotes. While writing an article, you can always begin with the quotation. Okay. Quotes, you don't need to memorize cumbersome quotes. You can use short one-liners, nice things, and simply. And suppose you don't have a quote as it is, it doesn't come to your mind while writing in your exam, you can use your own nice line also. Okay. So the beginning should be with quotes, and then you have to use lots of facts, because this is not an imaginary thing or a fairy tale that you're going to serve to the audience. It is all about facts. So you have to state facts or similar cases on your topic. Second thing, although article writing is a formal writing, it should not be too formal. Again, as I told you, you should be able to develop a connection with the audience, and it can be done so only if the language is not too formal. The article must be in simple, straightforward, easy language. That will help in better understanding. Title, beforehand only we discussed. Title must be catchy and clearly understandable. Then one mistake, it's a huge mistake committed generally by students. They do not use paragraphs. I will come to it in later on in my slides. Paragraphs are very important. They build more coherence and also they reflect on your personality. The reader can clearly make out that the writer is a very organized person and he is proceeding step by step. There is a quotation, there is an introduction, then there is a detailed explanation of the topic, and then there is the impact of it, and then there are suggestions, and then there is a nice concluding line or a concluding paragraph. One more thing, it says here expressing personal views is fine. Yes, your opinion is okay, but you must never talk about yourself. You should avoid the use of first person in your article, like I saw that, like in road rage you may say. I these days I see that a lot of people are driving rashly and behaving very have a very short temper in situations. So you can't use these kinds of phrases. I feel, I have observed. Avoid use of first person, and you must never talk about your own self. Some more points are there which you can keep in mind. One is topics of articles should be unique and relevant. Now here you can take it a bit easy because at school level your teachers mostly provide you topics to write articles on. So of course I'm sure they would be providing you with all the relevant material. But who knows, tomorrow you grow up to be a conditioned and an established writer and you happen to write big blogs and for newspapers and things like that. For that, you should remember rather, that the topics of articles should be unique and relevant. One thing, it shouldn't be a very common thing that anybody knows. Then what is the point of writing? And on the other hand, it shouldn't be such an unusual thing that nobody is able to understand those things. Okay, so we are going to write about something interesting but unique. Article has to get attention, my dear students. Now if you want to become celebrated writers and if you want to be in limelight, think of this: your article has to get attention. It will get attention only if it's interesting and if it's easy to read and the reader is identified. People know, okay. Because suppose think of big things in life. The reader is identified. Suppose you write article 1. Now people knew, okay, person A has written article 1. And then second day you write article 2. Then they again know, oh wow, person A is writing article 2. And then by the time you write article number 3, you will become an established writer and people would know you by your name. And they would even recommend you to other people. Okay, that person A writes very well. You don't miss his articles in the journal or magazine or newspaper. So think from this point of view. Okay. Then again, find the main goal of writing. Goal could be providing information just to entertain the audience or provide advice or something. The title must be eye-catching, clear and interesting. Introduction must be, look at this, highly attentive. Introduction, you are going to work a bit hard on, creating a nice introduction. Use your vocabulary skills. Oh, this is a wonderful tip given here. Try to use some interrogative words for the start. Okay. For example, The you're writing about pollution, you can write the you can begin like this: the whole world is a victim of pollution, isn't it? That makes it more captivating, instead of writing that the definition of pollution is this and that. Okay, then use clear statements and make assertions. Assertive sentences, you remember, just statements, logical statements. Then this is nice. Avoid repetition. I'll encircle it rather. Repetition, if you are organized in your thoughts and ideas, you will not, repeat. Reiteration is different, repetition is different. Suppose you want to emphasize an idea or a thought, you can emphasize it by, putting more stress on what you are trying to say. But repeating the same thing after 2 3 lines or after every paragraph makes it very mundane and dull. So it will not get you great comments for that. And it should be logical and full of reasons. This is very, very important. I always admire children who, even, in your extrapolative answers and other things, if you split your writing in paragraphs, it's very, very good. Here's an additional tip for you. Suppose you are writing a literature question, an answer to that, and suppose it's a double question. Okay, for example, recently we did the selfish giant, and if it's a double question, who was what kind of a person was the giant, question mark, where did he live? Okay, so I would appreciate if the first answer is in para 1 and the second answer is in para 2. That becomes very, very appreciative. And then write the contents uniquely and unambiguously. It means clearly. Okay, avoid using the points which interest you only and not for the general public. As I said, your guests are sitting in your home and then you are cooking something for them. At that time, what would you try to cook? Something, a dish which is their favorite, not what is your favorite, because you are cooking for them. Similarly, article, you are writing for them. Them means your guests, your audience. So you have to use the points which will greatly interest them and not you yourself. Then again, we have to just double underline it. Write a good and logical ending. Conclusion should be a nice and spick and span conclusion. Then here a sample article has been given. I will not dwell on it for long, but still some things we can just see here. You are writing an article which says grow more trees to reduce pollution. Okay, so do we have it, the title? Yes, we have. Suppose Radhika has written this. Do we have the byline? Yes, we have. Now in introduction, do we have a quote? Yes, we have it. Trees are poems the earth writes upon the sky. Nice, good. And then we have an introductory para which says ki what trees and plants do to earth and why they are so important. And then second para, see, it talks of very scientific things. They exhale oxygen and inhale carbon dioxide, maintain the ecological balance, and all these things are given. And then third para also talks about how they protect us from harmful UV rays. And then this para comes with certain problems. Unfortunately, urbanization is leading to clearing of forests and all those things, and they serve as a safe place for kids to play and socialize. Then there is a suggestion or an advice. The only way left to preserve them and reap these benefits is by growing them at a faster rate. That's fine. Content is fine. But look at this. Conclusion. I have marked C. Okay. As a Chinese proverb states, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So do your bit and make this place more beautiful. So, what a nice, crisp, and beautiful conclusion the writer has given. Same is expected of you. You have to conclude it nicely. First, throw your opinion, and then last in the last of the lines, one or two lines, conclude that whatever you have said, you mean to say it, and it has some bearing on our day to day lives. So conclusion has to be kept in mind. So, dear children, that was all, and I think I've said a lot about article writing, but it is just a one-time lecture, and you can, of course, through practice, through enough practice, you can inculcate these value points in your through the written medium of article, because I'll repeat, who knows, tomorrow you become celebrated writers. Like today, we read famous books of famous authors. Who knows? Tomorrow you also become one of them. So keep in mind the larger picture. Everything we do is shouldn't just be restricted to your academics and your marks and grades and your syllabus. Some things are beyond that also. And I'm sure you have enough caliber to go beyond the academics, beyond the syllabus. So good luck, all the very best, and see you in the next class.